I think I retweeted it last night. You see the Snacks interview with Colin Cowherd?
I saw it, but I haven't listened to it yet.
The one thing that bumped me up, and I'm glad that Jimmy's not listening because he's going to argue. Yeah, he was pumping up Odell. He was like, well, they saw in the locker room that some of these people need to grow up. One of them they got named was Eli Apple, which I didn't see that the first year.
Former Giants quarterback Eli Apple.
Yeah, he's going to be we're going to have like an extra 4th round pick because of him. Hopefully that we get, some people were talking about rumors that try to get Eli Apple for Marcus Peters. First of all, if we could actually pull that off with Kansas City, yes, we'll take that. But
I mean, Kansas City's unhappy with Marcus Peters, but they would be dumb.
Yeah, Marcus Peters has shown that he's an all-pro corner.
Eli, please call in.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you can't hear us because we're not streaming, but please call in, Eli, because that's going great. I saw another thing that I actually got excited about this. So we're going to go to a 3-4, or at least a multiple set where we're going to use a 3-4. One thing I saw was they're going to try to use Vernon and JPP like we used to use Leonard Marshall and LT and put them on the same side. Have JPP to be the end and Vernon bleed outside linebacker. That'd be a pretty, in theory, that would be pretty nice. Yes. And maybe we can actually use our other people that can rush the people. For instance, let's say Kennard comes back. Kennard would be another good outside linebacker to put on the other side, since he can play pretty much DN. He plays DN outside linebacker anyway.
Let me ask you this: what about using 2 on Bradley Chubb?
That's the only guy, and I know Jimmy argued me with this because we argue about the draft nonstop. That's the one guy, just knowing the Giants, that I would say they would take it to. That'd be a total Giants move by taking Bradley Chubb. The only thing I would say is if we are going to run the 3-4, it doesn't make sense. He is a 4-3 DN. I think he could play 3-4. I think he could play it, but the thing is, it's just like Mario Williams played it. Mario Williams did play it for Houston, but he's better suited for a 4-3.
Right. The only thing about...
But all Chubb would tell me is that Vernon and JPP are gone next year after the season where it makes sense. And there's a good chance that those guys don't play up to the potential. They're both gone come next year, which would give us a whole lot of money on our cap.
You think there's any possibility we would go Dub Chubb? Bradley and Nick?
I would like it. I like Nick Chubb, man. He reminds me of Rodney Hampton.
The injury scares me.
It scares me, but like we were talking earlier on, the thing was, there's still a running back. He's 2 years out from the knee injury. A lot of these guys have had knee injuries. Honestly, even if we had Saquon Barkley, he's one tackle away from having a knee injury. With pretty much any running back. I like bigger backs, and that's the thing is I don't want to take Saquon Barkley because I think there's some sleepers in this draft. They supposedly saying this is the deepest draft for running backs in a decade. I'll give you some names I like. Nyland Harris from NC State is a good big back. He's really good. And he probably will go in probably the third, even maybe the fourth round. He doesn't have a name like that. Also, a guy, John Kelly from Tennessee. He's nasty as well. Who's another guy that you probably get in like the fourth round. But, there's other I've been a Nick Chubb fan the whole time. Nick Chubb, until he blew out his knee, Nick Chubb was going to be a top 10 pick. A couple years ago. And even his running back tandem, Sony Michel, he's nasty.
That's a guy that I would like to see us take a little bit later. Is Michel. I think he's a beast.
Totally agree. And that's where, there's so many running backs like coming out that I'm like, I keep looking. I'm gonna tell you right now, somebody who's gonna be really fast and probably gonna make some plays. That Ronald Jones from USC. He's fast as crap.
And crap is fast.
Yes.
Especially
fast as crap. The only thing that I'm scared about this draft is there's not a lot of good offensive tackles in this draft. This draft is stacked with guards. It's stacked, I guess, even with centers. There's not a lot of good offensive tackles in this draft. Doesn't mean we can't find one. But as we talked about earlier, if we can get Sitton and Norwell, the guard spots are solid. Can we hopefully hope that Eric Flowers can solidify that right side? Or instead of getting Sitton, let's get a guy like Solder for a year or two. Even though I don't think Solder's that good at left tackle, but
in order to properly rebuild this line, you're probably looking at 2 picks this year. Or no, I'm sorry, 2 signings this year in free agency, and a pick in the draft this year and next year. So you got to.
Yeah, to solidify it to the point that we want it, it's going to be at least a 2-year project. Let's be honest. Norwell would definitely be a step in the right direction because I think he's 25, maybe 26.
Thanks, Jerry. You suck. Jerry.
And as far as Flowers, who knows, man? Are we streaming yet, or what's?
Todd, where's the pizza?
Todd,
I'm just listening to you guys go on. We're streaming, guys. We're up.
Oh, we are streaming. Okay.
Yeah, we've been streaming, man. I'm just listening to your beautiful voices.
Oh, that's good because this is supposed to be behind the scenes crap. Me and Justin were prepping.
Right. Good thing you guys weren't talking smack about anybody.
No, we do that. We do that to your face. That's fine, Todd.
Oh, okay.
First of all, Todd, I just wanted to put it out there that we received a letter this week about a kid, a 16-year-old kid. There was a letter received by Big Blue that a kid's asking to be our intern, and it was really pumping up our egos.
Oh, me and that kid are gonna fight. And I just want to put it out there. This kid, he was like, I'm not going out for pizza when we're supposed to be streaming. Okay, first off, I thought the stream was canceled. All right, this has nothing to do with any of that.
Listen, you need to know that we are professional and we are flaky as crap.
You
and
never
you
have
need to be
problems.
watching. You need to be watching that chat room at all times.
I'm watching it. I'm doing that. I'm doing my job. You do yours.
Whoa.
What's that kid's name, Justin? What's that kid's name? He'll be in next week.
What's his name? Chris?
Let's put it this way. He's already shown us videos that he's already shown us videos that he can post.
Oh, really? I've already made like 7, so I'm already ahead of the kids. Whatever.
And he's only 16, which means he's got, a
lot more potential.
He's got a few years on you.
I'm only 20.
And growth.
Well, and that's the thing. You're 20, dude. You've already reached your prime. You're already on your way down.
Oh.
For an intern.
Is that how it is? Well, you're like 40, so you've been going down.
Shots fired.
Wow. Ask your mom how old I am.
Some more mom jokes. More mom jokes. Golly. I thought you were supposed to get wiser as you get older, man.
So, just for the people listening out there, we want to apologize if we're not taking calls or whatnot. We're having a little technical difficulties. Todd, the intern, didn't want to run the board, and me and Justin are just talent, and we don't know how to.
Right. They bring me on for my hot take. And
exactly.
And over the past few weeks, just to piss off Jimmy, because he's angry.
Yeah. That's usually my job, but actually I agree with him in the draft. And that's what I want to get into since we're actually streaming now. For all you little commenters out there, and a lot of you are young that are saying this and not thinking it. Saquon Barkley is not a smart move at number 2. I'll give you just a couple of reasons right off. One, we've given you reasons in videos, but this is the deepest running back class in a decade. Meaning we can grab good running backs in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, guys that could be stars. And it's not worth – Saquon Barkley is great. He's a great running back, but he is not that much over those guys that you would take him at 2, where another guy with maybe a little bit less talent you can grab in the 3rd round. It just makes no sense.
Okay, first off, you just said, all right, you had some credibility, and then you said a guy with a little bit less talent, and then all your credibility went out the freaking window when you said that the other running backs in this draft only have a little bit less talent than Saquon Barkley. Credibility gone.
I'm not discrediting his talent at all.
Saquon Barkley is the best player in this draft by miles. By miles.
It's
a little bit less talent.
This draft is not. This is not the NBA. One player does not make a team. That is just NFL. He needs to be in the best circumstance possible for him to be successful.
One
just
player
like every
doesn't
other
make a
player.
team. Look at our team without Odell Beckham Jr. Tell me one player doesn't make a team. Look what we did without Odell Beckham Jr. this year. One player doesn't make a team, right?
Well,
our offense was like a fraction of what it was last season.
That's you know what? I love that you brought that up. Thank you for this is the millennial talk.
No problem.
The Odell,
no problem.
Can I take that?
Go ahead, Justin. Please.
I'll take you off.
So here's the deal, and this is the Odell thing is on multiple levels. First of all, you won't find a guy that's associated with Big Blue that thinks more of Odell Beckham than I do. I don't ever want to see him in any other color. I don't want to see him in any other color other than blue. However, in the NFL, wide receivers by themselves don't win you championships. They don't. And this year, even with Odell, we were, 0-4? In order for a wide receiver to be effective, especially a wide receiver like Odell, you got to have time to get down the field. If you don't have time to get down the field, then defensive backs know that you're running shorter routes. They can cheat up on you, and it's easier for them to make plays on certain routes. So, as great as Odell Beckham is, and he's a great talent, I love him. He was done a disservice this year by two factors. One, the nature of our offensive line, and then a sub-effect of that was that Eli had no time. He was scared to throw the ball, and he threw the ball high multiple times. And Odell is enough of a competitor that he was going to go up and get it even in preseason, but 2 shots to the ankle, and his season is over.
Go ahead.
So Odell Beckham isn't the reason why the team was bad this year. He isn't the reason why the team was good last year. He's a great talent, but
he's absolutely a great talent. I'm with you. I'm with you, Justin.
By himself,
I'll back it up. They were talking about the other day. He's worth about 7 million.
Let me respond to that. When you're done, I'll respond. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's limited what he can. The effect that he can have on the team by himself is limited, given the position that he plays.
100%, Justin. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I'm not going to argue your point. Your point's spot on.
Go ahead, Todd. I'm curious where you're coming with it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. A little bit of respect I'm getting right here. I like this. No, okay.
It's your last internship day. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So that was a really good point, Justin. You were right. Shut up, Tim. You were right. I mean, we were 0-4 with Odell Beckham Jr. even still. But keep in mind, it's not like we had 100% of Odell Beckham Jr., you know? But I'm not going to say that we would have went 4-0 if he was 100%. I'm not going to say that because, you're right. I'm not going to lie. Like, the whole, look what happened to our team with Odell gone, that was just a counter. That wasn't meant to be, something serious. But the thing is here, last season, the biggest thing that we were missing on this team is just the running game, right? It's not like running back. It's not offensive line. And it's a mixture of both of them, right? So my thing is this. The only thing we were missing last season was the ball being moved on the ground, all right? Both our new head coach and our new offensive coordinator both love to run the football. They both stated, even Gettleman, I think, came out and said that we want to move the ball this year on the ground. Do you really think that they're not going to make offensive line moves in the offseason to help better this team? Literally, they're going to build their – I'm not saying our offensive line is going to be like Dallas' offensive line by the end of – by the time the draft comes up, right? I'm not stupid. But I know that it's going to be good enough to run the ball on the ground with a decent running back, right? So by then, the only thing we're missing on offense, which our defense suffered last season, but not because our defense was bad. It was a mixture of a lot of things. We all know that, right? The only thing our offense is missing now is running the ball. And Barkley, is the best player in the draft. There's no running back even close to him. I mean, there hasn't been a running back this good coming out of the draft since LaDainian Tomlinson or my favorite running back of all time, Adrian Peterson, right? So my thing is just this, everybody keeps talking about these quarterbacks. And like I said, if we draft a quarterback, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not one of those Barkley or I'm rioting kind of guys. I just want Barkley, right? So
storm the castle.
Quarterback.
Storm the castle.
Yeah. I'm not going to storm the castle.
Here.
My thing is this. I don't know why everybody's so we need a quarterback, because if you look at the stats, which there are some people out there who are huge stat guys. I don't think stats are everything, but for those guys who do think stats are everything, here's one for you if you're high on QBs. Go look back. Davis Webb had a better career than both Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold. He had a better career statistically in college than both of those quarterbacks that everybody is so high on. That's not me saying he's better. That's not me saying that he's going to be better 100%. What I'm saying is there's nothing so impressive about these guys that Davis Webb clearly didn't have coming into the draft, right? So my thing is everybody's like, we get one of these quarterbacks that's going to be our quarterback of the future. These quarterbacks, along with Davis Webb, are a gamble, right? So in my idea, the only safe pick is Saquon Barkley. Because Saquon Barkley's not a gamble. He's too good to be a gamble. Look at him. It's not a gamble. If you draft him, you know what you're getting. With these quarterbacks, we don't know what we're getting. Josh Rosen is one concussion away from being a vegetable, right? Sam Darnold has a lot of consistency problems, right? Lamar Jackson has accuracy problems. Baker Mayfield has off-the-field problems. There's gambles with each one of these quarterbacks, along with the gamble.
Wait, I'm live?
With Davis Webb. What did you say?
Yeah, Ned, you're live. I was already told you were live.
What do you mean I'm live?
Ned got through. Ned got through.
Okay.
Okay. So
I have.
Okay.
First off,
so like I was saying,
when you say Davis Webb
Saquon
had
Barkley
better stats,
is the only non-gamble. Yeah, he did. He had better stats, statistically speaking. Than
yes, but
Sam
he
Darnold
ran
and
an
Josh
air
Rosen.
raid offense. He ran an air raid offense.
Yeah, but like
so
I said, I did say the stats were supposed to be taken seriously.
Padded.
True. I never said the stats were supposed to be taken seriously, though. I did mention.
Well, you can't. Let's put it this way: if you argue something and say check the stats, you can't say the stats don't mean anything. But
okay, it's different. Yeah, it's different.
But
I literally said right after that.
I'm with you. So you don't have to argue with me because I'm actually with you, Todd. As far as the risk is the risk is there. Yeah. And I personally would love the fact if Davis Webb is the answer, if the coaches, seeing him or they know about him enough to where like, you know what, Davis Webb, we're fine with him. That would be the best case scenario ever.
Grab Barkley.
But I'll tell you right now, screw Saquon Barkley. Buffalo Bills are willing to give a damn king's ransom to move up to number 2 for one of these quarterbacks, and that's just one team. We have to lead needs a quarterback.
Not to get off the rails here, but
so
why?
you need
Tyrod Taylor's been very
trade back.
Honestly,
no, that's my second choice. I'm either Barkley or trade back. That's my second choice.
The GM in Buffalo is an absolute idiot. That's why. And honestly, I don't care if their GM is an absolute idiot, because if that means it's better for us, I really couldn't care less. Let him
well, that's the thing you guys got to realize too is there's already a relationship between Gettleman and I think his name's Bradley Bean, the GM for the Bills, because Bean was Gettleman's assistant GM in Carolina. So they already have a relationship. If honestly, I think if we do trade out, it is going to be with Buffalo, and Buffalo's going to give up probably their future draft for probably the next 2 years. If we drop that far.
What would be your guys' minimum for the trade to be worth it?
For Buffalo, for us to drop down to the 20th and the 21st pick. From team number 2, you're probably going to have. They have 2 seconds. You're going to have to give at least a second, a third, a future first, and probably a future second. And you're just talking picks. Now you could bypass one of those picks if you gave up like Courtney Glenn, so we actually have a left tackle.
I think
you're not greedy enough.
I think it's 3 1s, 2 2s, and a 3.
And we get LaShawn McCoy, right? Is apparently what the trade said.
That's not going to happen. And honestly, I wouldn't want them to do that.
I don't think it's going to happen. I just remember the fake news.
I don't want LaShawn McCoy's contract.
Yeah, I don't want that contract either.
McCoy's awesome. And honestly, I was happy as hell that he left Philadelphia. But and he loves Buffalo. And Buffalo loves him. He's not going anywhere.
All right. Here's what I was thinking would be a good trade.
Go ahead, Ned.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Glenn was their left tackle, right? And he has
Courtney Glenn.
All right, and
he got injured last year, but he's the left tackle.
2 options: 3 firsts 3 seconds, Cordy Glenn, and they pay his bonus beforehand so we don't have to take that cap hit, or 4 firsts, 1 second, and Cordy Glenn without having to take the cap hit. I think you guys aren't being greedy enough. You have to realize that you can sell this as these people getting their franchise quarterback, someone that's going to last them 14 years as a starter. And when you're selling that, you take them for everything they've got and then some.
Oh, and I totally agree with you. First of all, I lived in Buffalo for a while. For Buffalo, with the fan base, the whole team would not care. They haven't had a legitimate starter since Jim Kelly. They would not care. So, for them, and it's been, what's that, 20 years? And honestly, Tyrod was the problem because Tyrod doesn't turn the ball over, but the guy doesn't throw the ball down. He doesn't throw the ball down the field. That's why they traded Sammy Watkins, because it was a waste of having a wide receiver there because he doesn't throw to him. But Buffalo would love to have the quarterback for the next 10 years. And I absolutely agree with you that I definitely think you could rob them. You could absolutely rob them. It's just the fact that there's going to be a whole lot of other teams that are going to be going for quarterbacks. We'll see where the dominoes fall after Kirk Cousins gets signed, after A.J. McCarron gets signed. After you see these quarterback dominoes fall, whatever that happens with Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Bradford, and then you would definitely see who the major players will be as far as the quarterback, wanting quarterback. And we're in a prime position, especially if we don't want one.
Listen, can we just address this one player that everybody, like, I see this in the chat a lot right now. Everybody's talking about, we're getting comments like, oh, they're just forgetting about Lamar Jackson. Like, somebody tell people in chat, like, explain to them why Lamar Jackson is not a top early round pick. Like, somebody, please.
Because he's an RG3V2, he's going to get himself hurt, in his first 3 seasons. The style of play he runs, he is going to get himself hurt. He's too reliant on his legs, and he has too many accuracy problems in the mid-range of the field, which is something we would kind of need him for, need him to be accurate in, given the amount of slant passes to Odell that we run.
If I could run that clapping sound, I would right now. Good job, Ted. Good job, Ed.
What I would say as well is that he's Michael Vick. All right. So
yep.
Not only from a size standpoint, but from the way that he plays. And Michael Vick was lightning in a bottle. When he was hot, he was hot. When he was on fire, he was on fire. But when he was strategized against, when he was game planned against, and he was effectively neutralized, there was no middle ground with Mike Vick. There wasn't a baseline where you could say, okay, I know this is what I'm getting. When he was shut out, it was ugly. And his teams, they had decent moments, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to recall. I think the furthest he went was an NFC Championship game, and that was one time.
Yep, I think you're right.
So
yeah, with Vic, I'm pretty sure you're right.
For the people in the chat saying, so what? It's the same thing with the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, not with the Buffalo Bills. With the Jacksonville Jaguars this season. When you don't have a QB that can really throw and you're over-reliant on run, when you've got someone who can shut down that one facet and forces you to play a game that you don't want to play, you get absolutely destroyed. It's an issue of not being able to have the ability to throw well combined with running. Mobility is great, but it's only great if you've got it with someone like Aaron Rodgers, where you can also throw it really, really well. You need that base ability to throw first, because if they shut down your ability to get out, you're screwed if you're over-reliant on your mobility.
I mean, Cam Newton is like a prime example of that.
Well, I would argue with that with Cam Newton, but I'm not going to give it to Cam. As far as Lamar Jackson, just look at Bill Polian's comments from a couple days ago. He's too short and too slight to be playing quarterback in the league. He's like, he should switch to wide receiver. Now, you know, who he reminds me of right now is Cordell Stewart. That's who he reminds me of. Could Lamar Jackson play some downs at quarterback? Absolutely. And I think he could be dynamic at, you know, if put in the right situation. Could he be consistent? I don't think so. For those reasons, because he's not the most accurate quarterback, and the fact is he's just too small. He's going to get crushed. And that's the thing with Lamar Jackson.
I will continue to say this until I'm blue in the face. When's the draft? In May?
April.
Sounds right.
April, I think, right?
I think it's April.
I'm pretty sure it's April, dude.
I think it was May last year. But anyway, whenever the draft is, April, May, I don't care. You'll hear me say this until I'm blue in the face. Now, I happen to agree with Todd. We'll get there in a minute. I can't believe I'm about to say that. But
what?
Oh, yeah, I really appreciate that. You get a lot of respect over here. I like this.
My gut says, you know, even though Tim says this is the most stacked draft in the history of the draft for running backs, that if Saquon Barkley is clearly the best back in the class, and he's ranked so high that he's a top player in the draft, and you already have Davis Webb, and you have a plan where you think you can effectively sign 2 starting offensive linemen in this free agency period, then why not take Saquon Barkley? That's what Justin says. JVW.
That's all I'm saying.
The guy that all of you have grown to know and love over the past year to 2 years. However,
no.
However,
do not agree.
Let me say this.
Yes.
Screw you.
That aside, it's very important to know, and I will continue to say this. This is what I will continue to say. Dave Gettleman is from the Ernie Accorsi tree. He's an Ernie Accorsi guy. Ernie Accorsi has and always will value the franchise quarterback, the pocket passer who is dynamic and can make plays from the pocket and lead a team. Ernie Accorsi single-handedly picked Eli Manning, scouted him, wanted him, went to bat for him, died for him, made it happen. Gettleman learned from Accorsi. Accorsi brought Gettleman in. That mindset is in the front office's mind's eye. If they're not sold on Webb and they value one of the 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks listed here at the top of this draft as that franchise guy that can replace Eli, they take him with the second pick, and they don't think twice. If they trade back, if they even entertain the thought, then to me, that's a major red flag for Buffalo because, like Tim said, Buffalo's assistant GM knows Gettleman. He knows the way that he thinks. If the quarterback's not good enough for Gettleman, he's probably not good enough for Buffalo either. So
that's true.
You're gonna take. I just think that the Giants are gonna take a quarterback here, and I think all of the recent news that has come out suggests that as well. You're telling me that Peter King, who's been locked in with the Giants for as long as I've been alive, is going to know that the Giants aren't going to take a quarterback and is going to publicize that in February? Hell no. That's not happening. And you're going to tell me that in the mock draft that they're putting together, which these guys research, all of a sudden this week it comes out that the Giants are going to take Saquon Barkley. You got to think, based on intel, why would the Giants want that to come out? It would be because they don't want other teams to know who they're targeting it to. Because if it comes out who the Giants are targeting it to, then Cleveland either takes that guy or they trade the number one for a king's ransom and they fall back and they get the guy that they want back at 6 or 7. Or they take him at 4 and they take another guy at 6 or 7 and they pick up 3 more picks along the way. So by the Giants saying they want Saquon Barkley, all that means is that they don't want the quarterback that they want out for public consumption.
Can I say 2 things? First, Cleveland
you say
has
one
already Cleveland has already accumulated more than enough picks that they're not
never
going
have
to.
Enough picks.
No. For Cleveland, yes, they can because they haven't cashed in enough of them. That has been one of their major issues is that they haven't cashed in enough of their picks, especially for good value like people. And they honestly, I think with 2 or 3 more drafts, they could legitimately become a good team. Now, I need to go soon, so I'm just going to do a mini rant so I have a timestamp that I can direct all the Barkley fans to.
We're missing Jimmy. Go ahead. Go for it.
Let it go, Ned. Let it fly.
Let it go, Ned.
Barkley?
Let it go.
I'm going to deny that Barkley is a good running back. Here's the issue.
Understatement.
Barkley is a generational talent at a position where a generational talent cannot carry you to a Super Bowl. You look at Adrian Peterson, you look at LaDainian Tomlinson, they did not Super Bowl victory. They did not carry their team to Super Bowl victory. You have to build a good team around it. And most importantly, you need to have a good quarterback. When you look at all the teams throughout Super Bowl history, when you get towards the modern era, you notice that the overwhelming majority of them rely on a great quarterback to win. And it is a pass-heavy league, and unfortunately, the running back's value is it has really kind of fell off ever since they instituted more of these protect the passer rules. You need to you can get a king's ransom from Buffalo, potentially 4 first-round picks, and a left tackle that, if they stay healthy, could fix our issue at that position. But instead of that, you want to draft a generational talent at a position where generational talent cannot carry you to a Super Bowl. You could get your starting quarterback for the next 14 to 15 years, but instead you want to get a position that doesn't have as much value and will only last maybe 8 years at the most, assuming they're not getting injured or anything like that. You're going to chuck the opportunity to get a massive rebuild for the future, or get your QB for the next 14, 15, maybe even 16 years for this guy who on his own won't carry you to a Super Bowl. Maybe he allows you to take one more shot with Eli, but once you've got Eli, you're stuck in mediocrity because Saquon is good enough that he's going to get you a couple of wins, but he's not good enough that he can carry you far into the playoffs without a good QB with him. So you're just going to be stuck in mediocrity.
Here's the argument. And you're correct. A running back by himself cannot win you a title. However, Emmitt Smith, when Emmitt Smith was with a wide receiver like Michael Irvin, it was on a different level. They had a tight end like Jay Novacek, and they dominated because you couldn't load the box, and you couldn't double team each one of those guys without opening up running lanes for Emmitt Smith. Now, that Dallas team had a great offensive line, and I will say to you that if they do draft Saquon, Kim and I talked about this earlier at the beginning of the show, I think that means in the next 4 years they're allocating other resources to bring in 4 offensive linemen over the next 2 years. But Odell Beckham is a great talent to put with a running back because you have to make a choice. I mean, we don't have to go back very far. The reason that the Giants were successful in 2007 and 2008 was because you couldn't double-team Flack and load the box properly to deal with Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw. You had to make a choice. And you're not going to be able to double Odell and still put 8 guys in the box to stop Saquon. And I'm not even talking about how Evan Ingram's going to clear out the middle of the field. You saw what Evan Ingram did this year towards the end of the year, and he was by himself. Didn't have anybody. They didn't have any talent the level of Odell Beckham and Saquon Barkley. So when you put the offense together, if you're committed to bringing in and investing the proper resources to redo that offensive line in short order, hell, why not? Couple that with the fact that you can still get a quarterback late in the draft that is a difference maker and get.
Let me ask you a question real quick before Ned has to leave, okay? Just to settle people who really want a quarterback. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I hate declaring and predicting any pick after your first pick because I think it's Tim who always says you never know who's going to be there. There's trades. You never know. So I think that's Tim who says this. But if this is a
it's actually Jimmy, but I'm with you.
Jimmy, I'm sorry. So this is the draft. So I am allowed to give what if scenarios, right? I usually hate any sentence that starts with what if, but I think I'm allowed to for the draft, right? So what if, right? We get Barkley at 2. In the second round, as some people think he might slip down that far, I personally don't think so. But let's just say it happens because this is a what if. Lamar Jackson's there, and for some reason the Giants actually like him, and they take him at 2. Would everybody who's going crazy over getting quarterbacks be okay with that? Would that scenario appease everybody, you think?
That's not going to win. Lamar Jackson is not going to win as a quarterback in this league. Mark it down. You heard it here first. But historically in the draft, there are quarterbacks that can win that have been taken late. The Aaron Rodgers at the end of the first round, the Drew Brees at the top of the second round, the Russell Wilson in the third round, the Dak Prescott in the fourth round, Tom Brady in the sixth round. Hell, in the championship round of the playoffs this year, the quarterback not named Tom Brady, again, were Nick Foles, were Case Keenum, led by our new head coach, and Blake Bortles. That's not the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. You don't need a great quarterback to win in this league anymore. What you need is the capability to build an offensive game plan and strategy around that quarterback that makes sense. And the teams that can do that, the teams that are not so married to this is the way that we have to win, not what our talent is not necessarily the best at, those are the teams that are winning. Now, what you need is a quarterback that can step up and make a throw. And that's why I think when the chips are down, I don't know if Lamar Jackson can do that. But Nick Foles can, Case Keenum can, Blake Bortles couldn't. That's why they didn't go very far. That's why they got as far as the defense would take them. But when Blake Bortles had to make a throw, he couldn't do it. They didn't trust him to do it.
You know what? I want to back up my boy Blake Bortles. I don't think Blake Bortles is as bad as everybody wants to put out there. Do you realize his top
garbage, bro?
His top wide receiver when he went to the AFC Championship was his number 3, number 4 wide receiver at the start of the season. One guy was an undrafted free agent wide receiver that was just having a hell of a good 6 games. I'm not saying Blake Bortles is great, because he's not. But he's not as bad as people want to put him down. He's really not. But he does show you the fact that...
And Leonard Fournette, dude. But I think, you're right. I think I know where you're going with this. He shows the fact that James...
But that's exactly what it is. That just shows you how Eli can put you over the top if you actually have a running game. We actually know we have a passing game when Odell's there. And you know what? I want to give a shout-out to Sterling Shepard as well that you guys didn't mention. Because Sterling Shepard showed me a lot in this
he did, man.
End of the season. When he was the only receiver there, he showed me he can be a number 1 wide receiver when he's the only one that's a threat. And just the fact that he's really the number 2, maybe number 3 option in the passing game in this coming season is going to be a huge plus. His confidence has to be, out of this world. And that's where I do think if we get the offensive line fixed, we do have a shot at making a run in the playoffs. Just like anybody else does. You can't tell me that Minnesota team is that much better than we are.
I was just about to mention that. I was just about to mention that even further proof in James's point. Look what literally our new head coach did with a guy like Case Keenum. That further proves James's point. You don't need an elite Aaron Rodgers to win anymore. I mean, look what the Vikings were doing.
That's Justin.
Look what
you need to learn the names. If you're going to be intern of the show, you need to learn names. His Justin who made that point.
Justin, I'm sorry.
JBW. That's correct.
Too many J's.
I've never sided
My name is Jay-Zach. You got Justin. We got Jimmy. I'm losing my mind here.
You're Todd. You're Todd. Whether you like it or not, you're Todd. Just like Ned is Ned. I know that's not his real name, but his name is Ned.
And I named it Ned. You're welcome, Ned. Ned Ryerson.
You know what, guys? The simple fact we can sit there and argue, But let's get into the off season. So, we're a couple weeks away from free agency actually happening. The rumors are going out already that Andrew Norwell, who supposedly is not going to get tagged by Carolina Panthers, so we're going to have a shot at him. Which Gettleman is the one that brought him to Carolina, so in theory we have a great shot at him. He's an all-pro left guard. We're going to make him the highest-paid guard in the NFL. And supposedly we even already threatened his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, if he does not make it here, we're not going to have a good relationship with Drew Rosenhaus players. Like, they're already getting real with the threats. Now, I don't care about the money. Anybody can argue about the money. Guess what? It's not my money. You can figure out the numbers. You can push and pull the numbers wherever you want them to, honestly. If Norwell comes in, more than likely Pugh's gone. Brett Jones will be at center. I'm going to say we're probably going to bring in another offensive lineman on top of that. Hopefully a left tackle, but I don't know who that would be because there's going to be surprise cuts that we don't see coming. It could be a guy like Nate
I just
Solder.
uploaded a video today of Jordan Brandon, I think his name is, was talking about all the potential cuts we had, and he had Janoris Jenkins in there along with DRC, I'm
glad you brought that up, Todd. I'm glad. The realistic cuts that are going to happen are Brandon Marshall's going to get cut. I think that saves us $5 million right there. John Jerry is probably going to get cut because he's not a good run blocking guard. He's one of the worst rated in the league, which is totally against what Gettleman wants to do. And that's going to save us another $2.5 million. Me and Justin got into this a little bit earlier, but obviously we didn't know if we were streaming or not, so I don't know what people heard.
Todd was getting a pizza.
Yeah, and Todd was getting pizza.
What was on the pizza, Todd?
Yeah. What kind of pizza you get?
Hold on. Okay, it's gone. I just got a nice little pan pizza here from Domino's with sausage and steak on it.
Sausage and steak.
It is redundant.
Yeah, I go big. I go hard in the paint when it comes to my protein.
Redundant.
Seems redundant. Nah, just like I said, you got to go hard in the paint when it comes to your protein.
How do you feel about ham and pineapple?
I think that's stupid.
I'm a fan.
Never touch a pizza ever. And if you do that, you're not a person.
Oh,
I'll tell you right now.
Pineapple.
I'll tell you right now.
Touch pizza.
No, you put it's mozzarella, ham, pineapple, and instead of tomato sauce, using like an apricot preserve. It's awesome.
My God. Let's move on to players. Okay, so Tim, you said earlier in the Facebook chat today that you hear that now that we're going into a 3-4 system, you hear that we could possibly have Vernon and JPP on the same side of the D line. How well do you guys think that's going to actually affect our pass rush?
Well, this is the thing with that. For us old Giants fans and for the ones that don't remember, Giants used to play a 3-4 all the time. And we used to put Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor on the same side, which would wreak havoc. And in theory, on paper, if we can put JPP and Vernon on the same side, I definitely think it could wreak havoc. Hopefully, Vernon can make that transition to outside linebacker, and I really think he can. Because I think he likes playing up top like a linebacker anyway. JPP is the one I'm worried about as far as playing defensive end in a 3-4. The thing with that is we're going to need linebackers, and we can talk about Vernon and JPP being on the same side all we want. The biggest question is who the hell is going to be on the other side? And that's the question. That question needs to be answered. Hmm?
Yeah, it's not like Dark was going to cut it. I had faith in Avery Moss, but he didn't really show much this season.
Well, the thing is, Avery Moss was drafted to be a 4-3 defensive end, and that's some of these guys.
Oh,
Tomlinson is probably going to play the defensive end on the other side because he did play at Alabama, so he's capable. But he was still drafted to be. He was still drafted to be a defensive tackle. You know,
yeah, but I was just going to say that. You have Dalvin on one side, Snacks in the middle, JPP on the other side, follow up with Vernon coming in at linebacker. I think that would be pretty nasty.
Well, Snacks being at nose tackle, he's already played nose tackle. That's not even a transition for him. He did that for the Jets. He can do it. You know, Thomason's going to be a transition. JPP is going to be a transition. You know, what we have on the linebacker core now is not going to cut it as far as scaring anybody. I like B.J. Goodson, but you know what? If he repeats anything from last year, he's not going to be on the field much. And I think he could be a good linebacker, especially in the 3-4. Calvin Munson could be all right, but not as a starter. As a depth player, I think Calvin Munson could be good. As far as other linebackers, who else is on this team that's actually signed?
He just said
Devin Kennard could be nice. Kennard could be nice if he got re-signed, but
yeah,
you know, maybe he doesn't want to play at 3-4.
Yeah. Also, how much money do you think he's going to want?
First of all, Kennard, no one's overpaying for Kennard.
I think he's worth like a 10/3. I think he's worth like 10/3.
$3 million a year, maybe. It's a little high, seems to me.
That seems high.
It's a little high, but when he's the only viable linebacker you have, it kind of warrants a little more payment. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think about it right now, for somebody to sign him back, we're not paying for his talent. We're paying for his talent along with how bad we need a little bit of talent at the position. Because our demand at that makes the price go up.
Well, what I'm saying to you is you got to think about it. You got to think about it the way that Betcher's going to think about it. So Betcher's coming in, he's going to run a completely different system from Spags. So unless you are a game-changing talent, he's going to bring in somebody that he has faith in, that he believes in, that can work in his system versus some, mediocre talent who flashes occasionally in a previous system that is completely different from the system that you choose to run. You know what I mean? So rather than take a chance on Kennard that he might work, unless they have complete faith in something, and they very well might. They might. I'm not saying that they won't. But unless they have complete faith that he can fill a role in Betcher's system, why not take a shot on somebody else that you believe in? That's where they are. On defense, you're going to see the talent stick around for this year, and then, they're going to start the rebuild. And within 2 to 3 years, the defense is going to be completely different.
Yep. As far as a guy like Landon Collins, he's staying. I know Jordan Renan wrote about the possibility of Jenkins, DRC, Eli Apple, all these guys being gone. Eli Apple's going to get traded. For what? Hopefully, we get a higher pick than what I think we'll get. I think we'll get maybe a 4th round at the most. But whatever. We get something for him, he's gone. DRC, because of Eli Apple getting traded, I think DRC might be on the team one more year. Main reason being because they've even toyed with the fact that he might play a little free safety. Janoris Jenkins is a great talent, and I personally don't think we should get rid of him.
He'll be around this year.
Exactly. He's going to have to prove himself. Now, let's put it this way. He's always been a head case. It's the only reason he wasn't a top 10 draft pick when he got drafted. It's because he was a head case and got kicked out of Florida. and ended up playing for North Alabama for a year. So, that being said, there's definitely going to be some changes, and this offseason is going to be, like me and Justin talked about, it's going to be exciting, and we don't know what's going to be because we haven't seen Gettleman do free agency with us. We had 15 years of Jerry Reese. We knew what he liked going to get, and what he cared less about. I'm actually excited as an old school Giants fan to maybe have a really good linebacking core. Could that actually be a possibility?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because we remember the days, at least Justin and I, Todd not so much, of LT, of Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, Gary Reasons. We could go on and Harry Carson, just Jesse Armstead. I'm trying to even think of some old school guys that I liked. That's when we started going down. Yeah. Now we're hoping guys like B.J. Goodson.
Antonio Pierce.
Step it up.
Antonio.
Barrow. He was great. Yep. Oh, Michael Barrow. You know what? I forgot all about Michael Barrow. And you know what? He was another guy I think we stole from Carolina.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
And here's to sort of piggyback off of Tim's point a little bit. The other thing to remember in terms of this draft and what to keep in mind is that Jerry Reese was known for two things. He was known for, one, always picking at an established pick of need. And two, sort of letting it get out about what exactly the Giants are going to do. So, they're trying to bring in new blood, new culture. Don't be surprised if throughout the draft it's best player available. It might be to stockpile pick at a position. Now, I'm not talking with two. Two, we've sort of played that out. We know what the options are. But I'm saying later on in the draft, don't be surprised to see him stockpile at a position where they want to establish, a competitive advantage. That's something that the Giants used to do back when we were winning Super Bowls in the early 2000s or the mid-2000s. Remember, they took Kiwanuka at the end of the first round when we already had, Tuck and Umenyiora. So the Giants aren't afraid to do that at the topmost level. It's something that Jerry Reese got away from because the way that he built teams left glaring weaknesses that he had no choice but to address in the draft.
Yeah.
But they want to be able to have that flexibility to take a player that they fall in love with just because they want to have him. When's the last time the Giants did that?
Exactly. You know what? It's going to be nice to get back to, really prioritizing the offensive line, prioritizing linebackers. Getting back to how I was really thinking about this, like during the season this year, was when was the last time that we had a legitimate running game? Was it literally the Super Bowl year? Because I like my Giants to be able to run the ball.
Which Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Which Super Bowl are you talking about?
Was it 2011 was the last time we could actually run the ball? When Ahmad left?
2011, we finished 31 in the league in rushing, so I don't even think you could say that. I think the last time that we had
you're right. They ran while they're in the playoffs.
The last time that we had a legitimate run game throughout the season was the year after the first Super Bowl. So that's 2008 going into 2009. Remember, after Plaque shot himself when we were 11-1, they rode that running game. They won in Week 16 against Carolina with nothing but that run game. They ran for almost 300 yards. That was the last time we had an imposing run game.
And you go back to that.
Did I make it up?
No, it's about damn time.
Hey!
You know, some people could be fashionably late. Marco shows up when we're about to go off.
That's the. You know what that is? That's the Leonardo DiCaprio entrance right there.
Yep.
So
that's when you know it's your celebrity.
All right, let's grade Todd's performance. How do you think he did?
Like a 4.
Well, as far as the streaming,
Come on.
as far as the streaming, I will give. As far as the actual streaming, it was a 10. As far as showing up on time, a 0. As far as giving crap about your job, a 0.
It's not my fault when I'm a little late, when I'm told originally that, hey, stream's going to go off for the night, we'll go tomorrow. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go grab a pizza then. And then as I'm out the door walking to go pay for my pizza that I ordered like 15 minutes ago, I get another message saying, oh, back on, get home. Like, come on, it's not my fault.
Yeah, but listen,
first of all,
you saw this. There's a whole lot of chat before that. There's a whole lot of chat that was going down.
I didn't see it. I was walking my dogs out.
You did it. You did it for a mediocre pizza from Domino's that had sausage.
You didn't even go to like
pineapple on your pizza. You like pineapple on your pizza. I don't want to hear about my mediocre pizza.
Redundancy. And
dude, Domino's
is not pizza number one.
This is the last thing that I'm going to say. Don't speak over the talent. This is the last thing I'm going to say. He called me Jimmy or James for like the first hour of the show.
Okay,
he did.
It. Your name starts with a J. It's
he
confusing.
Did. He doesn't even know that. He's been working with us for how long, and he doesn't even know the names. You know, the intern that wants to be in knows our names because he wrote them in the letter.
I'm 3 times the man that child is.
He called me. Did James call in?
No, James did not call in.
No, he didn't call in.
And did Jimmy call in?
Todd just missed Jimmy so bad that he kept saying his name.
I did see that James did like a few comments on the message board though during the show. So for as much as he wants to talk about when he was falling asleep, I saw him on Facebook. That's right, Jimmy. I'm calling out your shit.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, my God.
It just went down.
The NWO is splitting up.
Maybe he just rolled over onto his phone.
Yeah, maybe he's sleep commenting.
Yeah. Potential.
Yeah, no Captain Negative.
I never said that.
Oh God. So 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 for Justin. For Todd the intern.
He did it too. I give myself a 9.2 out of 10.
Ned made an appearance.
Yeah, Ned was hanging out.
Can we talk about Ned's dedication? We didn't even publicize the number, and Ned called in.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I haven't saved it on my phone, so.
Ned has us on speed dial. Let's be real.
Yes, he does.
And we did have it publicized. It's on the screen. It's on the stream screen on YouTube.
Did we only go on YouTube? Did we only stream on YouTube today?
YouTube and Twitter.
He didn't trust me enough.
I was looking for us on Facebook, which is where we get our most numbers. I just want to put it out there that Marco did not trust
doesn't matter where
Todd
you're from. We love
to stream on Facebook.
I can handle it.
See, this is how I think of it. Facebook is like the hot girl because we have a big following on Facebook. So Facebook is like the hot girl who sleep at you once, but YouTube is a girl that you can get with all the time. So I tend to go with that one.
Facebook is Demi Lovato.
YouTube's a grenade.
It's the grenade. Twitter's the minefield.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
a little
Jimmy's
late
here.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, the show tomorrow night's going to get a lot more viewers than this fucking thing did. Oh my God.
Captain Negative.
That's your service.
I knew this asshole would be awake. I knew he was.
I get up to take a leak. I see that Marco called in from vacation. I felt like I was missing a party, so I woke up from my slumber, figured I'd call in for 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Dude, you've been commenting.
Captain Negative.
Yeah,
you've been commenting on Facebook.
That was not me. I did not make any comments. I have no clue what you guys have been talking about. I can only imagine.
No, you
Lies.
You like somebody's comment on the board on Facebook. Like
I didn't like anybody's comment on the board on Facebook. What are you talking about?
That's not true.
I was just listening right now, and you guys said you weren't even on Facebook.
That's not true.
Don't try to get me with your lies, Todd, millennial.
That's not true.
First of all,
that's not true.
Because James was like, I'm not doing the show. Todd's like, I'm going to get a fucking pizza then, and screw you guys.
He got a friggin' Domino's pizza with steak and sausage on it. Which
that's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. First of all, eating Domino's pizza is pretty low end of the spectrum.
I live in Texas, all right? I don't live in New York.
Make your own pizza, Todd. Learn how to make sauce. If you get your own sauce, get some English muffins. Make English muffin pizzas. Get creative.
I live in Texas. We specialize in steak.
Did you ever see Wedding Crashes, Todd? Rule 76: no excuses. Play like a champion. If there's a will, there's a way.
Okay, Domino's is not even pizza. Todd, just go ask your Nona how to make it. I don't understand why he can't figure it out.
We'll inbox Todd the recipe on how to make a little sauce. You can go ahead and he can get that done for himself. I'm not telling him how to make pizza.
Yeah,
you got to be retarded if you don't know.
I won't put pineapple on it.
You want to cut your garlic with a razor, okay? Very thin.
Yeah, thin slices. Thin slices. Okay. And you only do that after you get the guards to send you to give you all the salami and the provolone and all that shit.
Right. By the way,
Todd, you can stay an intern if you know what movie that's from.
Oh, he has no clue what movie that's from, that poor kid.
What movie?
There's no way he knows.
You tell us, Todd. We know what movie it's from. What are you, a clown? Do you think it's funny?
What was it? No, what was the line?
Well, about the thin slices of garlic. Now, put them in the bathroom is different. You're going to confuse them. So, but the thin slices of the when he's cutting the thin slices, he'll put too much garlic in the sauce, right? You always put too much garlic in the sauce, Marco.
Isn't that the Goodfellas?
What did you just say, Todd? What did you just say?
Goodfellas. That's the Goodfellas.
It's the Goodfellas. Look at you. Look at you.
Now who's your
Goodfellas?
Wow.
I gotta tell you, Todd. I gotta tell you, Todd. That's impressive. Now, 2 for 1. Tell me what the other line was from. Put him in the bathroom.
What was the other line?
Put him in the bathroom.
Oh, I have that video on my DVD right now. My DVD player right now.
See, you thought you were a big shit by getting the Goodfellow one, but now you can't get this. So now you're going to be required to go sit in the bathroom for the rest of the show.
No. I'm thinking. I know that line. I'm thinking.
You know what?
Give him another line from the fellas. Come on, somebody give him something.
Nothing's worse than wasting
talent. Give it a test. You give it a test. You get this broad in your car. You drive right up to one of those trucks. You get the attention of the truck driver. You make sure the truck driver's paying attention. It's very important.
That's a Bronx.
Then you get the back of this girl's head. You start shoving it down towards your lap.
It's a Bronx.
And you make sure this truck is looking. You got to make sure it's very important. If this girl goes down on the old brajol, knowing that guy's looking, she's a pig and a whore and she can't be trusted.
I fucking know that. That's a Bronx tale.
Correct. Sonny had 5 fingers, but he only used 3.
My mom's
okay?
old too, bro. I grew up with my mom, bro. She made me sit there all the time.
Here you go, ready? You can't do coffee cakes. Put a screen in front of your face while I throw shit at it. You can't do coffee cakes. That's the best when he's telling him about the test, and he's like, if that girl goes down on the old brajol knowing the guy in the truck is watching, she's a pig and a whore and she can't be trusted.
By the way,
going down on the old brajol.
All right, guys.
As someone who got with Demi on the podcast, I can say that
I gotta get off.
Justin, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
What do you got to do?
I said, as someone who got with Demi on the podcast, I can tell you that's true.
That's right. Yeah, Justin.
All right.
Hey, that was odd that night. Remember that? You want to talk about going back and listening to the audio? Go back to that one.
It's buried in the archive.
And I got to tell you, Justin, very 70s like porno cop with the mustache and the glasses going on. Like, I totally thought you were coming in like fucking like, show me your license and registration. I forgot it at home, officer. Well, then check this out.
This is what we do here. We insult each other.
I had to take a
I don't have money for the pizza.
I was like, who was that? The hell was that? It was Justin.
Good one, Tim. I don't have any money for the pizza, sir. How can I help you? Well, it turns out that I just happen to have this erection right here. It's the first thing Justin, when I saw that picture, I'm sorry, the first thing I thought it was like 70s Chips, porn star guy.
That's what I was going for.
My wife is laughing. I'm going to show you the picture of Justin later, and you tell me he doesn't look like a 70s porn star in this picture.
I like it.
Spectacular.
Are we going to try to do this tomorrow?
Let's do this tomorrow. Yeah. So let's talk Barkley and me putting the gun to my head when they pass on the quarterback or trade him back, and I just call it a wrap and go black. I'm just going to shit myself when that goes down. We'll do that tomorrow.
My phone is going to die. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. We'll set it all up, okay? Maybe it'll be a
little
bit.
You got it, guys. Good night. Love you guys.
Yep.
Be good. Justin, don't do anything I would do with that mustache. Mod on.
All right.
Later.
Everybody tuning in on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. You guys keep